So everybody wants to stay in bed. It's comfortable, it's fuzzy, it's nice. And if you are an emotional person and you actually have difficulty getting out of bed because you're all about your feelings, you're all about your emotions, you may want to listen to the three personality types that have to do with routine. Listen to that episode, it's going to support you. It'll support you on this one because you might find this one really rough around the edges, okay? I'm Mario Leone. Welcome to the Voices of Victory channel, where we talk about the uncomfortable truths, but also the beauty of life as well. Feel free to click the Patreon link below while I sip my coffee in my Super Brorio cup, which is great. Delicious. A Sunday morning coffee. Now, today's episode is literally the morning negotiation with the mind's terrorist voice. You might be like, terrorist voice? Like, are we waking up under siege? And the answer is yes. For some people, waking up is a war. It's a war because it's an inner civil war. And the inner civil war is between your emotions and your thoughts going back and forth. So, in the morning, there's that internal civil war going on. There's court being held. And it's that meaning that starts off early in the morning before you are even fully awake, where your body is like, all right, I'm sleepy, I'm tired, and your brain will just start to generate a massive amount of reasons and interpretations and even suggestions as to why you should continue to actually stay in bed a little bit longer and somehow, some way make it have sense in the moment so you have an excuse to stay in bed. Well, the dog's here, so I'm going to stay in bed too. That's a fair one, right? It happens, but it rarely feels like inner conflict at all, and it's an actual war. The voice that happens in your mind, it starts off nice and relaxed and subtle and reasonable, but then what happens is you start getting frustrated and you get this voice like, oh, come on, like, you can stay in bed, it's okay, and you start to get really resistant. Like, the brain wants to get out of bed, but here we are staying in bed. So then what happens is it becomes less about making the effort and, of course, more about staying in bed and having a good time. That's what it's all about. So here's the thing. It all goes down the road of comfort. It all goes down the road of delay. It goes all the way down into confusion even. So in that whole idea, your brain is literally going to be part of negotiation. It's going to be a negotiation between movement and getting up and actual rest. Now, if you didn't sleep the night before, that's understandable. If you have poor sleep habits, okay, got to work on that. We already know if you want good sleep, it's probably a good idea. But it's between intention, what your intent is to get out of bed, and how comfortable and familiar life actually is. It's between what is possible for the entire day and how much time you can have in your day versus what totally feels comfy and easy right now, okay? So the mind in this state can literally be understood as a terrorist voice because your brain will start to evaluate discomfort. It wants to stay with comfort and evaluate the discomfort. So it wants to minimize all of it through persuasion. There's no force. There's no force going on. There's persuasion. And this is where the metaphor of the terrorist voice comes in. It can be totally symbolic here. It's not necessarily literal, but it is indeed symbolic. And it doesn't happen in your head where the terrorist is yelling at you. It's not about that. But it's a hostage negotiation. It is literally a negotiation. You're trying to postpone something and put it off and trying to delay things because rest is the necessity. So that's what you're doing. So it becomes this inner tug of war between good and bad choices. And this terrorist voice, it's like, nah, come on, we can do this, right? You're gonna do this. You're gonna stay in bed. Your body needs it. Come on, you can do this. And this little terrorist voice goes on in your head, and you're becoming the hostage negotiator at best. You're trying to get some genuine rest, and you're trying to put off what you don't have to do, but it just becomes habitual postponement at best. So your morning becomes this place where you start to interpret your bed as a war zone, and you're like, I got to get up. I got things to do. I have to go, go, go now. And part of you is like, no, but I need to rest. And a lot of this fight is going to determine on what happened the night before. What did I do last night? Was I up till 2 a.m. doom scrolling? Did I go to a wedding? Do I have to work in the morning? Like, there's all kinds of things because there's going to be a cost to doing and there's a cost to not doing. Okay. And over time, you start to recognize this, and it's not about fighting the internal terrorist, that internal argument. It's not about that. It's about understanding how your brain creates all of its routines and all of its action, and your brain and the way you interpret how those things are created and done. So if you are the type of person that has to get up, you have to get up, you're leaning towards the importance of getting up, I want you to remember from this perspective the idea of never negotiate with terrorists. So this can be understood not as an absolute rule in your mind, but it's a reminder of how your brain likes to engage in things. It's a reminder that the rules of engagement are really up to you, and you don't need to sit there, argue, and go into an inner civil war or self-conflict on the inside, all in the name of comfort. But you do have to notice when your brain is actually trying to negotiate with you. And guess what? Negotiation becomes the mechanism that actually will keep you in bed and keep you stuck there. So never negotiate with terrorists, especially if your brain is trying to pull you back into bed. So at that moment, you're going to come up with justifications. Oh, I work hard. Oh, I was up till 2 a.m. Oh, we had a wedding. Whatever the case may be. And again, if you lost legitimate sleep, your brain might be looking for that. And your body, if it actually needs rest, it needs rest. Of course, no one says we can't listen to the body, right? But we're not talking about the body here. We're talking about the mind and its little terrorist negotiation that it goes in. Because it's not about the discipline at that point. It's not about your discipline. It's all about your internal dialogue that's going on inside your skull. And it's your ability to limit how long that dialogue is actually allowed to stop and delay your whole entire day. That's what's happening here. So when you had a good night's sleep before, you had rest the night before, you didn't doom scroll last night, but you do have to get out of bed, but you're just falling into the comfort of it, and you want to be comforted and have that comfort in life, but you have to be somewhere in 45 minutes to an hour. That's where we say never negotiate with a terrorist. So at that point, it is not about the discipline. It's waking up in a practical way. It's not about forcing a new direction in your morning. It's not about that. It's getting to understand how your brain will play tricks and pull you back into bed. It's about getting rid of that resistance, even the partial resistance. And that's what's happening. It's a partial resistance. It's like, I have somewhere to go, but I want to stay in bed. Should I call out? Should I call out? Should I call out? You wind up staying in bed anyway, and you realize that you can't go back to sleep anyway because your brain is fully awake. So you call out, and you wind up getting up anyway when you could have actually went to work. Think about that. So there's this kind of intelligence in movement, getting up and moving. And it doesn't require you to have any inner civil war. It actually requires you to have some level of agreement on the inside. And guess what? A foundation. You start to develop a foundation in life because it comes from a place that you're acting and doing rather than debating little preferences that are going on. So I need you to understand that. So never negotiate with terrorists, especially when it's your brain trying to keep you in bed, all right? Because in the morning, you got to go from that negotiation idea to something that is giving you a direction in life and where that action you're putting out goes and where it leads. So it's very important for you to understand. So in that very idea, the terrorist is just a metaphor. It's less about fear, but it's more about awareness and the games that your mind actually plays. Because the real skill is not eliminating that voice that seeks comfort. It's recognizing it early on that it doesn't become the primary decision maker, because you should never negotiate with terrorists, especially when it comes to your sleep. Have a great day. Take care. See you on the next episode. Don't forget to click the link below to grow with me on Patreon, and have a great day. Take care.